Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the Basic Black Podcast. Good evening. Well, it's good evening for me today. And today is January 21st, 2024. So I have something really special. We have viewer mail. Yes, we have mail. And I'm excited that we are actually getting a chance to listen to the mail. So let's get to it. Ladies and gentlemen, viewer mail. Okay, let me stop. I'm sorry. I just wanted to use that sound effect for the longest. But anyway, let's do some housekeeping. And by housekeeping, I'm talking about we have some new listeners, and we are really excited that we are starting to gain some listeners in different countries. Very excited for the listeners that we have that came on board to the Basic Black Podcast. I'd like to thank Blanche. Thank you for listening, and we really appreciate you and all of your coworkers in the office that are currently listening. It's really an amazing honor, and we are truly honored to be able to provide content that we hope that will remain useful and just needed for many, many years to come. Well, all right. So with the, if you guys haven't noticed, I'm all by myself. My wife is out at work, and we haven't got Quamil in yet, so you are stuck with me. All right. So interesting enough, we got a question. This question comes from Erica. Erica doesn't provide a last name, but I'm all right with that. Erica says she's been in a 5-year relationship with her boyfriend. He has not proposed, and they have a child together. How can I get him to propose? I'm concerned for you, Erica. And let me go ahead and say that first, because right now, if you can't make somebody change if they don't have something that influences them to want to change. Right now, you have 5 years of a relationship. I mean, look at that. Break it down. That's 60 months. You've given 60 months to this man along with a child. 5 years is where people pay off a car or start to pay down on student loans and whatnot. 5 years is not a little piece of time. And depending on how old you are, it gets to be more important. Now, for me, I'm 50 currently. And let's say if I was in your situation, for me to spend 5 years with someone and not be able to achieve the relationship goals that I was hoping for would be a severe impact. 5 years to me is maybe, well, it's not maybe, 5 years to me is definitely more of an impact to me than it would be a 30-year-old or a 25-year-old. So let's just assume that you're not 50. Okay. But you have you gave 5 years and a child. Now, I really find it hard for some men that want to propose because unfortunately, you're already playing house. You already have the family dynamic in place. You have and I'm doing air quotes, you have the husband, you have the child, you're working, he's working, and you're taking care of the baby or the baby's going to preschool. So by perception, you have the family unit pretty much so in place. Now, and I obviously don't know who your boyfriend is, but if you have a man that is not proposing, unfortunately, I think the issue is he's okay with his current situation. He doesn't see any urgency to go ahead and say, hey, I need to do something and make this real. Now, I'm going to give you some advice, and please understand I am no relationship coach. I'm no life coach, speech therapist, pathologist, whatever. No, You're talking to a person who has 50 years on this planet, who's dealt with a number of things, who has been married previous and married currently. So let me give you my take on it. I think it's going to be difficult to get him to propose. It's going to take almost a come to Jesus conversation where you two are going to have to figure out what's the roadblock. It's going to take you a little bit of time to figure out what can we do to officially bring this family together. And I don't mean just for benefits. I don't mean for life insurance. I don't mean for, tax savings and whatnot. You have to get back to the core of the relationship. And you might have to, and I hate to say this, you might have to put a little fire under his butt. And the reason why I say that, because there's nothing right now that's forcing him to say, oh my God, we got to do this now. Sense of urgency. Got to do this now. And unfortunately, for this situation, and this is, again, just in my opinion, you're going to need to probably approach this very carefully. I don't like to see families break up. I don't like to see strife amongst families. And I think this is a conversation where you need to get somebody to watch your child. And then maybe you two would be better off going to a neutral location. Don't be at home. Go somewhere, just go somewhere, go out. And even if it's in the car, just don't be at home. You don't want somebody to feel like they have have more of an advantage than the other, or someone has the element of surprise. So I would strongly say go somewhere neutral and have that conversation. You're going to need to let him know how you are truly feeling. You don't have to cuss, scream, yell, or do whatever comes with it. You just need to speak from your heart. And we would hope that would suffice and be enough and make him want to say, I want you to be a part of my life officially. We need to stop playing house. We need to start doing different things. I hope it works that way. But if not, you have to be almost in a position where you're willing to go ahead and say, this might be something where I might even consider leaving. Or maybe he needs a break from his responsibilities. But you got to understand that's going to come with some caution, because the issue that I see, some men, if you give them freedom, they're going to take it. So you're going to need to make sure that you are 100% sure, if you go that route, that you're safe and secure with yourself to do so. But a conversation needs to be had soon. So what I would suggest is have that conversation, and you know what? Once you have it, reach back out to us. And if you need the email again, it's basicblackpodcast@gmail.com. And we would love to hear from you again, Erica. And hopefully the update will be good news. You'll be picking out a ring. You'll be putting on that dress and making your life a married life. Some people might say it's all good being single and this, that, and other. I don't agree with that. Everybody wants to have a good, stable love, not a chaotic one. So let us know. We would love to hear back from you. I wish you the best. And Erica, you can do that. Okay. All right. So we have Miss Erica, and I hope things work out good for her. And I actually have two other questions. So let's go ahead and see what we have. This question comes from Shanice. Shanice says, let's see, why am I so attracted to men I know aren't good and I would pass on a good man? Well, that question is going to have to be something that you're going to have to look at your own self to see if where that comes from. Because the one problem I hear by the email you sent us, you said you know a good man when he passes, but you're attracted to the bad boy. Now, the bad boys, I understand women, they want to be the rebel. They want to have somebody who's a little bit, you know, a different cut from the grain of being the normal everyday guy. They want the guy who's super adventurous. They want the guy who's edgy, who might just grab her up and say, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. But I would go ahead and say this, Shanice, you need to, just like with the first caller, with Erica, you need to really look at where you are age-wise. I'm not telling anybody that they can't go and have a great life safely. If you want to sow those wild oats, understood. If you want to have your hot girl summer, if you want to take those girls trips to Dominican Republic or go to, I think everybody was going to like different places in Mexico and whatnot, Acapulco, whatever, you do those. Matter of fact, as we said in the previous podcast with Julia, that we encourage you to travel international. You might find someone different, and that different might be the thing you're looking for. So I would strongly suggest, depending on your age and your goals, are you looking to get married? Are you looking to have children? I think that's what you need to kind of keep in perspective. I don't know if you have children now or not, because it didn't say that. But you have to really go ahead and first establish what you are looking for. Number two, you need to also look at your non-negotiables, being the things that you will not tolerate. And when you set those non-negotiables, do your best to not bend or break them. It's just not going to work. If you want to date a man, but you don't want somebody who has children or has a few children or children really young, that's understandable, but that's definitely something that you need to honestly address with this person. Now, what I would say is, since you have your non-negotiables, you have to figure out, are you still wanting to play the field, or what's the importance of you doing that? I'm not saying you can't find somebody who's edgy, somebody who's adventurous, somebody who's not the normal, and find a good man. But if you know, and you said it clearly, you pass on a good man, then you know what a good man is. And if you don't, I would hope, because I know this isn't for everybody, I would hope that you've had some strong male influence, either being a father or a uncle or anybody who you grew up around, that gave you kind of a blueprint on what you feel your prospective husband should be. I guess I'll use my wife's words when she says it's cold in them streets. And I understand how that could be a hard thing, because I know the dating field is wide open and there's more challenges that I see now than ever, more than ever. So you have to look at your clock, and I don't mean the clock that's ticking that says you must have a child right now. I'm not saying that. You have to look at how long you think you can be out there in the field clock. And if it's getting close, then I would strongly suggest that you take the relationship mentor route. You must have or know of some women who are married that you admire what they do, and you would aspire to have a relationship, a healthy relationship like they have. So if you do, I'm telling you this, as a married person, look at some of the married people. See if you can spend some time with them. If they have an event or something, share your concerns and definitely make it known what you are seeking. Because one of the good things I can tell you about being a married person is married people do a really good job of referring their single friends to other friends. I know because I'm actually a benefactor of that because my good friend actually set me and my current wife up to meet each other. A quick planned pseudo blind date that actually started over almost 5 years ago and it's still continuing now. So I'm not saying it's not going to be work. I'm not saying that it's going to be easy, but you have to really, truly take an assessment of what you're looking for and how do you want to achieve it. I hope that answered it, Shanice, and I wish you luck. And also, the same thing as Erica, please go ahead and reach out to the Basic Black Podcast at gmail.com and give us an update. We really, really would appreciate that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that means that we have one last question. I'm trying not to run this one super long today. I want to shorten some of these segments so you can listen to them, get what you need, and not be stuck listen to recordings piece by piece, part by part. All right. So the last question is, when do you call it quits if he won't propose and you have not met his parents yet? Okay, Deborah. Red flag. I don't know how long you have been with your current partner, but I see the red flag in the fact you haven't met his parents. Because to me, meeting his parents is a pretty crucial step in declaring you to be the woman that he wants. Now, I come from the days of not dating, but courting. And in that courting process, you are staking claim on a woman. And I don't mean in any modern, crazy hierarchical type BS you hear these days. But I mean staking claim as in saying, hey, I like you. Matter of fact, I love you. And I am fighting and trying to win your heart. That's courting. Not just merely dating, but that's making sure your intentions are known and you don't want anybody else in this dating journey but the person who you are currently with. So I do see some issues, Deborah, with that. I mean, I don't want to be the bearer of red flags, but sometimes it's better to get the perspectives of other people because when you're involved in a situation, you're too close to ground zero to truly understand how things are. You'll notice that there's going to be a lot of friends and colleagues and family that will have an opinion, but that's when you call on discernment to sit back and say, you know what, I hear you, but I'm not going to apply that piece of information because I feel it doesn't completely fit this situation. But I have to warn you too, there's going to be a lot of opinionated people. When you ask those questions, I ask you to do this. Look at the person who is providing you the information. Like my father used to tell me, you don't ask or take homeowners' advice from homeless people because they don't truly know the situation. So if you have somebody saying all men are dogs and all men are going to cheat on you, you're not going to find a good man, I say look at the person who's giving you that advice. Are they married? Are they successfully married? Are they happy? If you had to look upon them for an example of a good, healthy relationship, would you say they are that? Well, if you can't, then kindly listen, but it doesn't mean you have to apply it. You kind of have to make that call for yourself. So that's going to come. Trust me, you're going to have those folks. Now, He won't propose. I think that kind of goes back to what we were talking about with Erica. I don't know if there's children involved, but I do see some difficulties when a person doesn't want to propose and you have allowed the status quo to be stagnant. And now your situation has absolutely no movement whatsoever. I would hope that maybe it's a thing where your partner feels like he needs to make a little bit more money, or he wants to save, for a wedding, or he wants to make sure he's truly in for this journey called marriage. Now, I'm going to give you some advice. This is from a newlywed and a person who was married for over 20 years. You'll never be totally financially ready to have kids. You will never be totally financially ready to get married. Marriage is a leap of love and faith, and we just hope that when we take that leap, it is one for life. I thought at one time I was in that position. 20 plus years later, things change. So I guess I'm in that phase of you can really teach an old dog new tricks, because I'm definitely that person. So I would say right now, Deborah, the best thing you can do now is to go ahead and size up your partner and see where he is in wanting to make a life with you permanent, not just roommates, not just we split the bills, not just, we're bunkies and we share a car. Because to me, if you can share bills and you can have a child, that's going back to Erica, then you are already in the formal process of having a marriage intact. You have to really examine and figure out, why have you not been able to cross that marriage finish line? Like, what's not getting you over the hill to say, hey, it's time to do this? Now, I would suggest to not be hostile or have any threats or ill will or scheming or gaming or whatever folks call it. This calls for a honest and truthful conversation. And again, with that honest and truthful conversation, I hope that your partner is receptive. I hope that he is willing to put in the work that it will take to make that relationship be official. And if it doesn't happen, you have to be prepared to say, hey, then this is something that I'm willing to back away from. And that's a big decision to make. But if he's not going to commit, then again, you've already given 60 months, 5 years. Are you ready to give more time for an answer that already took you 5 years to not get it satisfied? I can't answer that. You have to answer that. But again, Deborah, I wish you nothing but love, luck, and success. We are a big supporter of healthy marriages, couples and families. And I really hope that everything works out for you. And if it does, send us a wedding invitation. My wife loves wedding cake, and I do too. So, let's try to keep those good relationships together, and let's try to make happy, productive, successful families. Fathers need to be in the household. Mothers need to be present. We need that unit. We need that unit together more than ever. Good luck, and I hope it works out. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you this evening for spending some time with me. I'm hoping to have back on board, I'll have my wife, Julia, and hopefully Kwamil. He's getting his little studio together so we can start doing some projects. And I can't wait to be able to get that new content out with new voices behind the microphone and not just mine. So with that, I'm going to say I want you to have a happy, loving day. And remember, till the next time, and thank you for listening to the Basic Black Podcast. Have a good one. All right. Goodbye.